Well, hello good people. Today I wanted to show you 5 of my personal favorite models that I use for photorealism. As always, I'm going to leave links in the description below on where you can find these models. Now the first 2 I want to look at is Realistic Vision and ICBINP, otherwise known as I Can't Believe It's Not Photography. Whoever made this must be referencing that old commercial, I can't believe it's not butter. Was it Fabio, the one that used to do that margarine commercial? I can't believe it's not butter. On the screen, you see Realistic Vision on the right, and I can't believe it's not photography. I'm going to laugh every time I say it. On the left here. And to be honest, Realistic Vision has been one of my go-tos for photorealism, especially for people. But I recently came across, I can't believe it's not, okay, I gotta stop. I can't believe it's not photography recently, and both of these models are fairly new. They were uploaded at the end of June. One of the things I really love about Realistic Vision, it picks up the details very well. Now I did use the same seed, the same prompts, the same settings for all of these. They'll look slightly different, but fairly similar. If we zoom in here, if we look at, the headpiece here, the strands of the hair, the texture of the skin, it looks so photorealistic. It's very hard to determine if this is real or fake. Let's go down towards the bottom here just to see more of the details. Now I did use high-res fix just so that I can show you all the details that we get from these models. Switching over to ICBINP or whatever it is, let's zoom in a little bit here. And again, if we look at all the details, even the depth of field is very accurate, the wrinkles in the face, the details are just incredible. And I'll be honest, this one I've been leaning towards even more these days. Let's do a side by side again. The one thing I would say with this model, it honors the prompt a bit more in terms of age. You see this one here, although the age wasn't determined, Realistic Vision tends to give the tribal chief here a bit of a younger look. And this is going to be a running theme for the other models that I show you. Here's a couple more examples of Realistic Vision on the right, and I'm going to call it ICB moving forward to prevent me from laughing. But once again, same prompt, same settings, all that type of thing. Let's take a look at Realistic Vision a bit closer here. One of the things I often look for is hair details and skin texture. And if you look at the wrinkles under the eyes, the hair strands, so very accurate. The teeth are pretty good actually. Sometimes one of the weaknesses of some models is that you get some weird teeth. Sometimes there's too much teeth and they're too small. This one is pretty accurate, it's very believable. And if we look at the texture of the clothing, the jacket here, very accurate. And I know you might think this to be funny, but Realistic Vision doesn't over-exaggerate women. There is a slight bias to women, which you'll find in other models. The bias could be very high, giving the woman like overly large breasts and that hourglass figure. And there's a time and place for that. I'm more into practical. So one of the great things about Realistic Vision that it's a very practical model. Switching over to ICB, let's zoom in a little bit here. So if we look at the hair, the background details, it doesn't have as much wrinkles, but it does show some eye bags, which I quite like. You do see some wrinkles on the cheeks here. The teeth look fairly accurate. If we look at the texture of the shirt and the jacket, very realistic, very believable. That's why these 2 are my top 2. Going back to Realistic Vision, you're going to see that the latest version is version 3. You'll notice here at the top, it's got a VAE file built in, so no need to use a VAE with it. It also comes with an in-painting model for doing in-painting. It's just under 4 gigabytes, 3.95. So oftentimes the developer of the model will give you an example prompt where you basically just put in your subject and use this prompt to get you started. You can always add more details to the prompt. They provide negative prompts to use. and the best settings to start with. Now you're not limited to these settings, but it's always a great way to start and then do your own experimentation. With I Can't Believe It's Not Photography, the latest version here is called Relapse. There was a final version, but if you look at the uploaded date here of the latest version, it was just uploaded on the 28th. It also has a separate in-painting model, and although the developer doesn't put any specifics on how to get the best out of this model, typically you could use something like realistic vision settings with this model and it should be fine. And if all else, what you can do is click on these examples and go on the right panel here, and you can copy these prompts, look at their settings, and that will get you started with this particular model. Next, I want to show you Reliberate, the same developer that created the Deliberate model. They're not supposed to be related. This one's geared more towards a photography style. And this one's fairly new too. It was just uploaded on May 29th. And then another recent updated model that I tend to like to use as well is called epiCRealism. This version was uploaded on the 27th of June, and it does have an in-painting model. So here we have them side by side. We have Reliberate here, epiCRealism on the right. Let's look at the hair texture, even the little snow details here. But in terms of the photorealism, you can get some really great results with it. If we look at the jacket material, very realistic, even down to the shirt. With epiCRealism, I know I said it with the other model, it's a very practical model to use as well. Looking at Reliberate here, let's zoom in. I really like the little rim light it's picked up. The eyes are fabulous. The eyelashes. Quite a bit of skin texture, a lot smoother here. That could come down to settings and the way it's prompted. Really nice details. Jacket texture, very believable. Reliberate, just like Deliberate, is probably one of the most versatile models that I've used. Here's the other example side by side, and let's take a look at Reliberate. Now you'll notice it tended to give more of a younger face, sort of like realistic vision, whereas with ICB, the chief looked much older. This one looks like a younger version. We look at the headdress here, great details, the hair, a little bit of wrinkles you can see. Mustache, nice details in the earrings here, very nice textures on the clothes. And with epiCRealism, we see more of a feminine look compared to the other models. There is kind of a heavy bias towards women. Picks up the details really nicely. Oh, I like how the earring turned out here, really nice. We look at the braids and the details here, very, very flattering results. No specific details on the settings, but you see some information down here. Actually, no, there is an in-painting version which you can download. Once again, if you just want to try a sample, you can always copy and paste these examples here. And it looks like it generates hands very well, which is always a good thing. epiCRealism, we see there is an in-painting model. This is also just under 2 gigabytes. It was uploaded on the 27th of June, so it's still fairly new. Now this I like. It says that you can use simple prompts. This is great if you're just starting out. They even state you don't need these type of words: masterpiece, best quality, 8K, intricate, high detail. These are common words used in prompts, especially for photorealism. No need to put that in there. Just read through some of the advice they give you, and then further tips on your settings. So 20 steps would do fine. CFG scale of 5. Oh, and they do recommend this upscaler for best results. And the fifth model I wanted to show you is Cyber Realistic. This one was uploaded at the beginning of June. It also comes with an in-painting model, and as you see in the examples here, it also does photorealism very well. Looking at the examples here, nice details in the hair, in the headpiece, even the facial hair, very subtle, very nice, even the freckles. Let's take a look at the braids, the texture. Yeah, all of these models, honestly, I can't complain. This one tends to look a tad smoother than the others. I'd call this very similar to Reliberate almost. Let's take a look at the woman here. Yeah, teeth look very believable, especially the eyes. Strands in the hair, very nice. Even the snow, it looks like that whole motion blur effect. Even a little bit of snow texture on the sweater here. If we look at the jacket texture, very believable. This is also a fantastic model for people portraits. Staying with cyber realistic, the developer does recommend the standard VAE, which they've linked here, and it's said to be a very versatile model. It does benefit from higher steps, so this one was with steps of 40, which isn't too bad. It also utilizes DPM++ samplers. Now, as always, let me know what you think in the comments below of these models. Which one are you currently using? What's your favorite that was not on my top 5 list? I'm always looking for new models to try out. And hey, if you like any of the ones that I suggested, like the I can't believe it's not photography, if you end up liking that one, let me know as well. Until the next video, my friends, I'll see you when I see you.